Good day to you one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Today I'm talking about a band who I had the infinite pleasure of meeting on, I think, more than one occasion, actually. I mean, who remembers that stuff? But anyway, I think, where was it? Rock, some festival that was called something like Rock Next to the Sea, or it's always like the genre of music and then something to do with the location. That's how you do festivals, unless it's download or something, you know. So it was, I think it was called Rock and Prog Next to some Sand, or so, I don't know, the festival. So the Rock and Prog Sand Fest, Rock and Prog. It was the Rock and Prog Sand Fest, somewhere in Spain, I think. So yeah, I'm talking about Opeth. This song is paragraph 1, and I shall incorporate a second microphone to record the theme tune. Justin Hawkins rides again. Oh, you get those lovely rich bassy notes from the guitar when you do that. All right. Probably won't have much call for the guitar because all the Opeth stuff's going to be way too complicated for me to figure out on my humble Hawaiian master tour de force. So Opeth, who've been described as Swedish metal icons, Swedish prog metal giants, and Swedish rock legends. I can see the pattern here. It's the nationality of the band followed by the genre that they're associated with, and then some sort of superlative description of their status. So Swedish metal icon, Swedish prog metal giant, Swedish rock legend, have just released their 14th album, The Last Will and Testament. I see how that goes. Oh, it doesn't matter. Released on the 22nd of November. Early reviews noted that it marked the return of lead singer Mikael Åkerfeldt's death metal vocals, or growl. I don't think that's what they mean, actually, which were last heard on Watershed in 2008. Watershed, of course, is a song that explores the difference in television programming before and after 9 o'clock during, you know, the primetime Saturday night slots. Explaining why, Mikael said, "I have not been completely unaffected by fans who once loved the band saying, 'We suck, I can't sing anymore and I'm too old to scream.' Part of me was like, fuck you, I can still do it. But it did have to come naturally. Up until now, it just didn't fit with the music that we were writing. And I did fall out of love with the more extreme forms of heavy music." When one falls out of love with the more extreme forms of heavy music, it's very difficult to reignite that passion. And I think it takes the fans to go, "Yeah, you're too old, you can't do it anymore," to sort of inspire you to go, "Yes, I can, watch this," or whatever the sound is that he does. I'm not sure. He is quite famous for his scream, but I really love his singing voice. I think he's just got this wonderful timbre in his, when he's sort of, you know, singing notes. There's something beautiful about it, and I think he's developed a lot as that type of singer. So this is a little bit like when I did that, was it the Architects one, when it was about the bleh stuff that he'd tried to sort of shy away from. I think when something begins to define you, there's a natural tendency to sort of push it away. Maybe that's part of what happened. Anyway, The Last Will and Testament is a concept album, the first since 1999's Still Life, and tells the story of a wealthy patriarch whose will reveals shocking family secrets. That's a good idea, isn't it? Paragraph 1 is the lead single from the album. Here we go. I've always wondered how you're supposed to dance to progressive music. I think the answer is you're not supposed to dance to it. You're supposed to stand there, mouth agape, going, "What?" like that. I've always loved these kind of Eastern-sounding solo scales that they use when they're doing their lead guitar playing. Opeth, they made a record that had a tree on the front of it. What was it called again? Maybe it was called Heritage or something. That was quite proggy in an old school kind of almost 70s prog sense. And I know Opeth fans will be frustrated with me because I always go on about that record, and that's obviously not one of their heavier things. But I used to listen to that and I used to think, are they plugins simulating like the old sort of synthesizers and keyboards that you'd use in those if it was the 70s, you know? And then we went on tour in America and we played in this venue and they said, yeah, Opeth were in here last week. Should have seen the amount of fucking equipment they had. Rhodeses, Mellotrons, all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually legit. So when you hear these kind of like, I suppose, heritage sounding keyboards and stuff, they're actually the real ones from, from olden times, and not just plugins that you might use on a digital, or DAW as we call it in the production realm, or DAW if you're lazy, which I am. I think I figured out the dance. It's this. What is that? Draped in death, the hell. It's another crooner, isn't it? This is this is what I'm talking about. I love this area of Mikhail's voice. I'm not even going to try and simulate that. Doesn't matter. Draped in death. Quite satisfying, that is. It's a little bit like when I think I know I'm not mistaken in suggesting that Opeth are a Scandinavian band, and I think that since ABBA, there's been this kind of like tendency to sort of have these kind of vocal arrangements where somebody sings something and then somebody sort of utters it in, either whispers it or normal, carefree, laughter, silence. I'm making this up, aren't I? Ever after walking through these empty, so this is a similar approach, I think. It's almost like Mikhail Ackerfeld has like a hype man who's nearly as evil as him, or perhaps in some cases more evil than him. So, the howl, and then the other guy goes, the howl. Well, I probably went too evil on that, but he goes, the howl, and then the other guy goes, the howl. And I quite like that when you're being reinforced by a hype guy who's sort of saying, yes, I agree, and in fact I'm going to repeat that sentiment. Occasionally I'd expect them to sort of join in, like a Beastie Boys type thing. But this is prog, so who knows what's going to happen next. My time is at an end. Why you wallow in self-pity when I confess to you as part of final plight. Here's the lovely singing. Hello, it's a really aggressive vibrato technique. Oh, dreamland. It's like Scott Walker or something, isn't it? So here it is. So this is paragraph 1 of the last will and testament of the patriarch, who is shed his mortal coil and is apportioning his, I guess, estate among his successors, his children, his offspring, the people that matter to him, I suppose. And here's the bit when some of the secrets start to be revealed. Any guesses as to what the first secret will be? If my family's anything to go by, it'll be like, there's no money, but here's a pair of 1950s bathing trunks made from very, very thick nylon. And, you know, there's probably a bit of my DNA in there. You're welcome, kids. Nice one. See you on the other side. It'll be something like that. Listen to that Cool Roads sound. Beautifully played. I love those sort of Gershwin-y flams when he sort of slides up from a semi-down. That's how I play. People say it sounds like I'm playing keyboards with boxing gloves on, but that's not it at all. It's a different way of expressing. It's called expression, guys. Get used to it. Or it could be a Wurlitzer. So that could be a mellotron playing a violin part, because you can hear the way it sort of swells strangely and has that glim, glim, dim, which is not how you'd naturally expect a violin or a viola to behave. And then that bend down's cool. Probably use the thing to slow down the tape if it's a real mellotron, or the pitch thing on the electronic version. And suddenly it's turned into a Queen song. What's going on? I see a little silhouette of a man. Ah, enacted grief. That's always the one, isn't it? The sort of performative crying at some of these I mean, I remember I went to, this is a bit of a sad story actually, but I remember I went to a funeral, and sometimes in England I think there's you know, just because of the English stiff upper lip and all that sort of stuff, I think there is actually, like, even when a young person passes away, like one of my friends died when I was 18, and when we went to the funeral, it was kind of like, there's still this, because we're all young and we're all full of just like, I suppose, dismay and kind of disbelief, really, that it hadn't hit us properly. And so you go to like a big church kind of funeral situation, and then they have people in those situations that are at the back, and they're singing loudly to get you to sing like the songs, the hymns and stuff, to get a bit of an atmosphere going, but nobody's kind of inclined to engage with it because they're all just shocked. You know, this is a young person, as a person my age. And so you kind of think, so I was kind of sat down the back. I was trying to keep out of everyone's way. But the guy that they'd got in to do the singing was so out of tune. It was like abysmal. And it was kind of like, because I was overwhelmed with emotions I didn't really understand, I was kind of like, I was just laughing. I couldn't stop myself from actually pissing myself and laughing really hard every time this guy came in. It was making it worse. And it's like, and like in between lines of the hymn, just the anticipation that this fucking foghorn was going to come in, I was like, I couldn't keep it together, and I was laughing so hard that I was crying, and then I was crying. That's probably what he's talking about there. The enacted grief. That in that instance, there was somebody who was, you know, like a hype man, but in a funeral. God. I will hear and learn the secrets I've been hiding, guide my children through my trouble. A little bit Sparksy there. No, the secrets I've been hiding. Sparksy? Much? Yeah, definitely. Some really fucking impressive guitar playing. Put your trust in my command. My command. It's lovely. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the background. The stereo image has been thoroughly explored. Even in the drum set itself, you hear him sort of. I think there was a moment earlier when he did like a little trill on a ride cymbal, and it seemed to. Maybe it's just my imagination, but it seemed to swoop through my head. I think this is going to be a really interesting album. If that's phase one of a profound exploration of familial secrets and people bickering about money. I mean, I'm all for it. It's wonderful stuff. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Firstly, about the subject matter, because I think it's so cool to sort of think about a band that's prepared to do a concept album in an age when nobody buys fucking albums or even consumes music in that way. They'll choose their favourite song from an album and then they'll just go off and listen to their favourite song from another album. But the idea of doing a body of work which has this overarching narrative is a really bold thing to do in these times, I think. Also, let me know what you think about his voice. Do you see it as a return to form, or is it a shame that he's kind of abandoning what he's been developing in terms of his, the beautiful timbre of his actual singing voice? And what do you think of the song? Use the comment section. Justin Hawkins rides again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, watch one of these two videos, and I'll see you on the ice. All right. Again.